Hello. How are you all doing?
Hi
Aloha.
Aloha. Welcome, Jade, and welcome, Becca. This is so good to have you here in this space. It's been such a long time.
there. It has been a minute and I've missed you every single second since.
I know. And welcome, everybody, to one more session of Grandma's March 2024. And today we have Rebecca Saltman, and you probably know her already from the opening session. If not, Rebecca is my dearest friend from the Shakti Fellowship and sister from probably other lives. And she's an amazing change maker. She's living now in Portugal, and she has all these amazing projects that she's working with. Is values, the
Value
value
flow. Yeah,
value
value flow.
flow and good for life, right?
Yeah. Disrupt for life. Yeah.
Yeah, disrupt for life. So yeah, welcome, Becca, and we have a special guest today. That is Jade, uh, and Jade Rehder. That's the right way to say it, Jade.
Yes.
Rehder.
Raider.
So
Yep.
Rehder. Okay. Jade, I met her through Rebecca, a couple of years ago. And actually, they both compiled a book together. So that's why we got also more connected, even. We had a Kiva circle, and I haven't met you in person, Jade, yet, but never late. So we'll probably do it soon. And before we start this delightful conversation between us, I would love to also introduce Jade a little bit, because she's the first time she's in this space. And she serves as a beacon of spiritual wisdom and empowerment for women embarking on the journey of self discovery. She's also an energy alchemist and emotional mastery guide, and she integrates modalities such as energy coaching, NLP, Reiki to support individuals in their quest for self empowerment and self realization. She's a powerful, amazing woman, very connected to the ancestral wisdom. And that's why we wanted to listen to her story today. And also, remember a little bit about that amazing book that you both compiled, You Empath You, and it has powerful stories from different women around the world. So, yeah, welcome, and let's play and have fun together.
Well,
Woohoo!
mahalo for having me, both of you. So thanks so much.
Oh, so good. So, Jay, let's start. The theme of this year, it is Grandma's March. It is time. Grandmas are telling us it is time to revive our roots and ask ourselves, what did we do once we knew? And this question comes from as an inspiration from the poem of Drew Dellinger, uh, where he wakes up at 3 in the morning. That's the poem saying, and it is a call from his great grandchildren asking him, well, now that you know what is going on in the planet and everything around, and now that you're conscious, what are you doing with that? So, yeah, that's kind of the idea today. Let's go start maybe from your roots. Anything you want to share from your story, your connection to your land or ancestors, anything you want to bring into the
Sure.
space, and then we
Absolutely.
go
Well,
from there.
yeah, I grew up in northern Minnesota. Yeah, sure. You bet you don't. You know, I can speak like that. Spent 20 years in Colorado. That's where I met Becca. So that neutralized my voice. I spent a lot of summers on my grandmother and grandfather's farm.
Hmm.
So until I was 12 or 13, every summer for probably 6 or 8 weeks, we hung out on the farm with the trees, with the garden,
Wow.
learning how we fed ourselves with a
Hmm.
true root cellar, literally dug into dirt, a few board pallet things to keep it from falling. Um, Literally we swam in um, we swam in troughs that you feed the animals in. They weren't drinking from our troughs that we bathed in and swam in, but rainwater.
That's so
So
cool.
we did things way more natural than a lot of the people around me.
Hmm.
Um, I know what an outhouse is. I know how to use an outhouse, even in the middle of the night. So it was a little bit more probably 1940s than it was
Mhm.
1970s. And we
Wow.
enjoyed the heck out of it, right? Like, we enjoyed picking berries and
Oh,
understanding what happened if you squish the berries. Now, we weren't dyeing clothing like the Hawaiians do with the berries
I
that they pick
love
or the nuts
it.
that they pick. We were dyeing our hands by accident. But I understood more when I went on my journey later in life to learn how to create dyes and do different things like that from really my roots growing up. Um, What's interesting is the physical roots I have in this lifetime are mostly German Scandinavian. The vast
Mm.
majority of my blood is that. Yet over the years, I have been told that my heart is super connected to a number of cultures by the
Mhm.
elders. Wasn't something I thought. It was something I was told by a grandmother and then actually a grandfather.
Mm.
Well, I grew up in land, Ojibwe area of northern Minnesota, Lakota, tons of Lakota Sioux overlay in the area, and also where I spent my summers when I got older in the Black Hills of South Dakota. So my heart connection into what people call indigenous is very, very deep. What's interesting is this morning I was listening to the intro to a Gaia 2-day event happening, and literally a man named Doug Goodfeather reminded us that we're all indigenous because we're of the earth.
Mm.
And he
Wow.
was like, and we're here to help one another. Much of that we have forgotten. Also, what we've forgotten, and I know this is much of what you're talking about, what did you do when you knew? Is that our responsibility? And in Hawaii, we would call it our kuleana. Our responsibility is to care for the land and one another.
Mm.
And I mean, how profound that this morning, literally, I spent 20 minutes listening to this introduction from this man from the heart about how we're all here together to help one another, which is always what I've believed our purpose is. People are like, what's my purpose? And I'm like,
Right.
it's so different than your job. Your purpose is to help one another. That's it. That is the whole. Are we done now? You can leave.
So
We just need
easy.
to help one another. Like, that's it. That's the whole thing. And
Mm.
so I was taught as a child to help each other. Okay, I literally made notes on what Doug said. If we had lived the ancient ways, we would be so much more advanced.
It is true. Wow, I love that.
Love,
I
love,
am going
I
to
love
go
that.
look up Doug Goodfeather and see if he's teaching people online, because I feel he is. He's a Lakota elder. I'm not going to guess which one of the reses. I have a pretty big feeling he's on Pine Ridge, which is where my family is over there. Self-realization comes through self-love.
Mm.
Oh man, the man was spitting out profanities.
What
Oh,
is his
love
name
each other.
again?
Doug,
Profundities. That's good, Jade.
profanities. I make up words all the time.
I love that one.
Doug Goodfeather,
Wow.
Lakota Sioux elder. Um,
Hmm.
love each other, take care of each other. Ooh, as the tears are falling down my face. This was the most profound thing he spoke of. And it was the blocking of our tears has led us to shame and blame, created wars. And the tears getting to the earth create the healing onto the earth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so guess who's probably going to be letting a lot of tears. I've been calling kahea. In Hawaiian we call it kahea, to make the call.
Kahea?
Kahea. You make the
Kahea.
call to your high self. Bring me this. Bring me ancestors. Okay. So further along in my journey in 1999, I met a woman, and I literally dove under a table at a networking group to get to her because she ran out of business cards. And her company name was Positive Changes at the time. Her name is Maggie Connor. She became my kumu in ancient Hawaiian La'au Kahea, which means to make the call to your high self. And it is the Hawaiian's path of self-realization. So I was blessed years later to have a Hawaiian grandmother tell me that I had a Hawaiian heart, even if I didn't have it in my blood in this life. And then a couple of years after that, a young Lakota man in Oregon was questioning me about a drum that I had. And his father's standing in the doorway and he goes, "Cut it out. She has a Lakota heart." So I believe we all have all of this within us when we go from the mind to the heart, which so many traditions will tell you is the longest path, right? So the path into the heart has been my journey my entire life. What's interesting is we have two sensitive people on the call. We call ourselves empaths. For me, that's on an empowered path, meaning our lower energy centers are awake on earth and we receive a lot. Sometimes it's the weather. Sometimes it's the person's knee pain. Yesterday it was somebody stabbing back pain for me. And sometimes it's that emotions, the plants, the animals, right? Like trees cry when they go by me in a logging truck. I cry when the trees go by me in a logging truck. And I talk to the trees about where they're going next because no one told them. They're sentient. And I knew things were sentient when I was very, very small. I talked to the bushes. I talked to the frogs. I talked to the bugs. People thought I was a little crazy underneath the bushes, talking to everything that would move. And I've been clairaudient my whole life, and I thought everyone was till I was 33, which means I heard voices and still do that were helpful and supportive. There's a difference between schizophrenia, where you hear voices that want you to harm yourself or others. That's a mental illness, and please get help. Yet if you hear voices that are telling you go left, go right, that person is awesome, go play with them, that opportunity, take it, run, please do. So many of us ignore our innate knowledge that is right inside us. We hear it, we feel it, we see it, we know it. Yet sometimes we've been taught, especially by Western society, to go with what was. And I don't mean ancient ways. I mean the overlays of rules that we've been given. So I'll be quiet for a minute. Monica, Rebecca, go for it.
I love this. And yeah, Becca, you can intervene any moment, because I would love to give you also the space now that we're talking about ancestors and tears and how that was. I just want to share a little bit about a story that just happened, because I just interviewed another girl, and she wasn't alive, and she's from Colombia. Actually, she's a young girl that she chants and sings. She sounds like an angel, and she sings a lot of mantras, and she composes, like her own music sometimes, but she also brings like ancestral, songs and things like that. And she was singing. I asked her if she could sing something in the space, and she was singing something that is a really connection to heal yourself. And then we put her alone in the screen. So I was back and I closed my eyes and I started crying, and like this release that you're having. And the music was talking about healing, like you can heal your own self. And it came a memory to me that many years ago that I had, and I even say it online, and I never say this, I'm going to say it again. But many years ago, I had a very rare type of cancer in my left eye, and I'm good, I'm doing super well. But I started like digging about that and the connection to all this energy, feminine energy that it has because of my left eye. But the way I found out about that cancer was because my body was crying. My left eye was crying by itself, and all the time it didn't stop, and people were like, "Why are you crying?" So I don't know. I may have something in the eye, but it is amazing what you're saying about the tears, because it's like, yeah, it was a way of healing, and not only myself, but there was something that also, I don't know, maybe my ancestors, my land, all the things going there. And wow, I just made that connection. I wanted to bring it here because I think it's amazing. And I don't know. And today I know it's a special day for Becca, that I think is a good moment for you to share, because it's like, yeah, it's go back to your
really
ancestors.
perfect, right? So as we are recording this on March 16th, and we're talking about tears and grieving, my dad passed away 28 years ago today.
Wow.
And he died when I was 26. So he's been gone 2 more years than he was with me. And it's just incomprehensible, right, that he's gone so long. And it feels like it was yesterday and epic ages ago. And Jade, as you were describing ancestry, my father had this incredible laugh that was passed through, like, people remember my father's laugh. And that is, in fact, song. So, Monica, when you were describing this as song or vibration, and Jade, when you were describing this, vibrations that are coming through ancestry, I just thought of my dad's laugh.
Oh.
And how we can learn so much from our ancestry, or our remembering and remembering, which Jade, Monica, and I have talked about some time, right? Not only our cognitive memories, but also remembering each other and the earth. That it's so powerful. And as being an empath with the two of you both as well, being super sensitive to this is also really important in these times, as we are remembering our roots and remembering each other. It's a super powerful day. So thanks for having us together today, Monica. I think this is amazing.
It is
unbelievable.
We need to celebrate your dad and that laugh, definitely.
Oh my goodness, for sure. I wish I had a recording of it, because it truly was epic.
I've seen pictures of your dad, and it's always, what I remember is the smile of your dad. So definitely that's,
for sure.
Yeah.
I feel you putting a call out to, does anyone have a recording of dad? Because they may.
Yeah, I have
Who
to.
knows? There could be 8
I
millimeter
know.
out there, back. Come on.
Yeah.
I know, come on. Yeah, that would be
somewhere
amazing.
for sure, right? So yeah. And it's also super funny because, like, we're in a time where we're supposed to, my father had this philosophy. He didn't know he was a philosopher, but he had this hilarious thing. When he was teaching all of us to drive, he said, if you're ever scared, if you're ever lost, if you're ever concerned or otherwise, like, pull over and stop. So, like, this is huge, awesome opportunity, right? Like, he didn't know he was, like, a philosopher. This is such good life lesson. And one of my dearest, closest, like, childhood friends taught middle school for like 25 years. And he used to teach everybody the same thing: pull over and stop. Now, over the past few weeks, I've like had this hearing of my father just pulling over and stopping, because nothing is like, nothing's clicking into place. I think that we're in this time where nothing's clicking into place and whatever. So it's time to pull over and stop. I thought, and I hear, my dad laugh and telling me to pull over and stop. It's a good idea. And maybe we all can choose that.
I've had that disconnected space too. Thanks for the, I've been talking about stop, but that pull over part.
Yeah.
That part is key, because if we stop in the middle of the superhighway, it's a problem.
Pull over first. Then you stop.
And then then you can like look up direct now. I mean, when he was teaching us to drive, there wasn't such thing as like GPS, but now you can like pull over, take out the phone, look up some GPS, or
Yeah.
breathe for a second, or any of those things, right?
Hmm.
He was so smart, but I don't think he really realized. I think he was just frustrated because he was teaching teenagers to drive.
I'm
Sounds
sure.
like he taught a number of you, not
You
just
know who,
several of us, yes.
yeah,
It was
you know
fun.
who taught me how to, like, she didn't taught me how to drive. Actually, I was remembering my grandmother, Rosita, and it was an uncle who taught me how to drive, but he will say, well, I teach you how to drive, but I'm afraid to going with you, like he will teach me like in a parking lot of a cemetery and we will go there. He will teach me. I was like, I'm not going with you out. And then my grandma will say, I will go with her. So it's like, so she will go with me always. It's like, I don't care. I trust you. Let's go. And and I think she didn't know how to drive, but she was giving me directions. Like, no, slow down, or no, you go here. But she was just always next to me when I will start driving and going. There you go. And there,
See, this is remembering our roots.
I
This
know it is true. I love this
right?
story. Yeah.
It's totally true.
It is.
Well,
Anyway.
and Monica, you reminded me about how proud my grandmother was of me. They asked me if I could pick, I was interviewed in a magazine back in Denver, and they asked me who my idol was. And it was my grandmother, Frances, which we called Fritz. And Grandma Fritz was a manifester in the 50s. And I mean, she would cut it out. My mother, for her graduation, got a picture of a rose gold watch out of the Sears and Roebuck catalog. A year later, my mother got that watch because my grandmother literally put it in the card and said, I'm getting you this watch. And then she got her that watch. So she was using imagery to
Wow.
manifest. My mom graduated in 1956. So, and no one was teaching vision boards back then, right? But so she was my grandmother used her imagination. Actually, later this morning, when after Doug got off the stage, Matthias DeStefano got on, and I got to listen for a little while to Matthias, and he was talking about how people talk about using your mental plane to create. He goes, you use your imagination, not just the random thoughts floating through from the collective group. You use your imagination to create in the mentalism is true imagination. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my grandmother used mentalism. My mom talks about it from the time she was like 8 years old. My grandmother would talk about what she was creating, and then it would happen. And my mom's like, I thought she was a magician kind of thing, right? Like she just would talk about it and then it would happen. And grandma knew astrology wise, my grandma, her sun sign was Aquarian. So Aquarius, which is the time we're all in collectively now, finally, every single tradition, no matter which one they are finally together. Some of them thought we were in Aquarius in the 50s, by the way. Believe we're in the age of Aquarius. So we're going to use the ancient wisdom to bring more of that ecology into the world. Good for me, good for you, good for everyone. And that brings so much excitement. My heart just goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And that sounds a whole lot like the Three Stooges there. So thank you, Dad, because seemingly there was, he wanted crack up laughing. Okay. Jade has opened the channel somehow. Okay. So let's talk about land, and let's talk about grandmothers for a moment.
Yes.
I am sitting in Florence, Oregon on stolen land from the Sayusla tribe. Okay. So I know I'm on stolen land. In fact, there's like 5 layers of stolen land that we are on. Okay. The Sayusla tribe owns it. Literally, one of the leaders was here speaking about their culture to us, which was so beautiful. Before I moved into the wellness center I'm at, I came in to bless a room. Okay. And I walked in and I chanted in Hawaiian to the elements of creation to bring in all of that, to set the space in purity. I have spent since 1999 walking with the way of La'aukahea, of the Hawaiian, ancient Hawaiian pre any overlays we'll go with. How nice is that? Look at how I diplomatically said that. I get proud of myself when I make no one bad and wrong, because it's a tough one with a Pisces sun and Mercury and Mars and Saturn and Chiron. Because when I
All the
believe, I
combination.
believe. I believe, I believe, I believe. So, okay. So on this land of the Sayusla, I am back doing a blessing. I'm speaking the intentions of the woman whose healing space it is into this space. And all of a sudden, I am literally, and I've been conscious channel. Everyone who speaks wise words out of their mouth and has no idea what they are, you dearests are conscious channels, which means you're bringing the more expanded consciousness of you through, more than likely, what people will call the causal chakra, and I call your channel center when it's embodied, and you're speaking it through your mouth. I've done this my whole life. I know Rebecca does it. I know Monica does it. And conscious channels bring words through, and we don't know what we said. So if you're ever speaking and don't know what's coming out of your mouth, you're conscious channeling. Here's the difference of what happened in that office with these grandmothers. So when a strong channel is coming through, my nose gets cold and it feels like someone's pulling it down. This is how it works in me, because it's hitting the crystal inside my head, that information at such, it's like somebody took a fire hose and is throwing energy into the top of my head. The grandmothers came in so strong. This is called trans channeling. It isn't something I've chosen to do in this life, but they came in so strong that I hit my knees in front of 9 people who didn't know me from other than my name, maybe, and have met me once. I'm on my knees saying, I have a body, I have a body, I have a body, meaning they have to be gentle with my electrical circuitry. I'm a human being. I have a body, and they're like, we want a voice. And I said, as long as you're gentle with my body, and I'm talking out loud, so these people probably are ready to call the people with the jackets, right? And I start speaking. I start saying what the grandmothers are saying to me, like, this land was for healing. We are so grateful you are here. You are here to heal what was happened here. And they go on for like 15 minutes that I'm talking. And I'm like, in my head, I go, I have to go to work at the rock shop. So you gotta let me get done so I can finish the blessing and go to work, close the circle. So this group of grandmothers has continued to come and visit. They visit everyone who comes here that is open to them. The owner of the center, Mary Jo, they come to her in all different ways too. Often we see them. What's really interesting is after I left doing the blessing and cleansing here and went to the rock shop to go to work, an elder walks into the rock shop and she looks at me. She goes, oh, dear one, thank you for being here. And I said, of course. I'm thinking I opened the rock shop, right? She's like, no, love. Thank you for being here. Oh, and you're with a group of people here. There are more people here. Wow. And she just keeps going on and telling me, you do remember who we are. You do remember why we're here. And everything was very open-ended without any answers, right? It was just continually an opening of the field. And I looked at her and I said, I have a question. And she said, sure. And I said, was this land used to train healers? Because it has a feeling like Lapakahi on the Big Island of Hawaii, where they train the shamanic trainings of all the different priests, priestesses, the herbal workers, the energy workers, the bone healers, like the 2,700, I'm exaggerating, probably the 30 different kinds of energy workers that the Hawaiians had. They trained in this one place. And she looks at me and she goes, love, we are where the ocean and the river meet. Not one, but 3 rivers. Just consider would the First Nation people, the ancient ones, would they not be here where the fresh and the salt water meet, where all the unusual things grow, to train one another and to be in the purity of that? And oh, by the way, it has this little scoop in, right? So there's this feminine cup. Of course they were here. Of course this is where they trained. So when we're open, like I followed the sparkles that day, right? People follow breadcrumbs. I'm much more for glitter. I didn't wear any today, but you may see me in pictures with glitter on. I like to follow the sparkles because it's fun, right? It's fun. So that's what I have to share on that.
So what I want to know is that, Jade, you're a new grandma.
Oh my God, yes. How is that?
We need to talk about this. This is super important. And this said granddaughter.
Well, so what's interesting is my granddaughter decided to come to Earth super early at 23 weeks gestation at 1 pound 4 ounces. She decided to choose what from the outside was a super intense early 6 months. For her, from the inside, when I connect to her, this was part of her plan. She literally showed up. So she was born at 4:44 a.m. on the last day of Libra. So she's a high degree Libra sun, high degree Libra rising. She's going to be here to make sure things are taken care of. Okay. She has a Taurus moon. Her emotions are really stable. She's very stubborn, though. Hilarious. Like she squawks. Like we pretend a pterodactyl sounds like we have no idea what a pterodactyl sounds like, but that's what we hear, right? Is in our heads is this squawk. So her name is Maddie, and she has a very long Hawaiian name, which I literally would have to look at to be able to say it. So I always wanted to move to Hawaii. My daughter Sam decided to go to school there and marry a Hawaiian man.
Oh, no kidding.
So I have a
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She threw herself on the ground and told me I had an adult and parent. Actually, she told me I had a parent and let her finish school where she was when I wanted to move to Hawaii. So she finished school in Hawaii with a degree in archaeology, anthropology, and cultural studies. So she stands out on the land as an archaeologist, talking to the grandmothers and the grandfathers, watching for the bones. Okay. So, sometimes the kids do what we aren't doing. Maddie has a tutu, which is the Hawaiian word for grandmother. And because tutu. So I didn't go tutu. So most of my blood is Germanic. So that's Oma. And I'm like, do I want to be Oma? No, I don't think I want to be an O. In Hawaiian, the word na means calm. And because there was so much going on in her early months, I was like, well, I better be the calm because the storm is going on, right? So I'm Nana, much like na 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 na. She loves you to sing to her. Maddie is now, she's almost 17 months old, about 17, 18 pounds. She's a little sprite. She is walking around furniture. The only delay she really has had is gross motor. She babbles, she talks. She's bright as a whip. That 4:44 a.m. when she was born, about 3 months after she came to this side of into the world, I'm sitting behind a car and the license plate is 444. And all of a sudden these big brown eyes open up in my third eye. And I'm like, Maddie? She's like, get moving, get out there. And I'm like, what? She's like, there's no excuse. You need to go. So how the grandmothers say we have to go? Yes. Well, I have a grandmother that's about 17 pounds right now, 18. She is old. She is so old. She is such an old soul. She, everyone who like the psychic friends, the medium friends, they connect with her. They're like, she's so angelic, but she's old.
I get it.
So old. Her picture is over there. Should have thought about it and brought it over here to show you. She's too freaking cute. I could probably pull one up on my phone. She knows what she wants. She runs
I
the show.
bet. I bet.
I get to go. I've been to Hawaii a lot since she was born. And we
Oh,
go see Tutu Pele. We go to the volcano because the volcano starts because Maddie needs to go. And I'm like, all right, within 3 days of getting there, we'll go to the volcano. So that grandmother energy doesn't only have to come through people with a lot of years on the earth. Not even close.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
it's so different to be a grandmother. I don't know that there are words really. Like for me, when I had children, I was really specific. Everything was about making, you know what I mean? Like I was so focused right there on all the things that had to happen for them. As a grandmother, I get to be present. So I go to Hawaii and people are like, well, are you working? I go, yeah, between about 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. And I go, because I'm from 3 hours ahead, right? So I'm already awake. I get done what I need to get done. And then the baby gets up and that's baby time.
Of course.
And for me, it's been a beautiful embodiment of the choosing to be present and a real anchoring of that state. So when I come back, people are like, you move slower than you used to, but you get more done.
I
And I'm
love
like,
it.
because I'm present. If I'm like this, you start a lot of things, but you don't finish many.
Yeah.
So I would tell you that what she's taught me so far, the biggest thing is presence in a beautiful, beautiful way. Yeah.
Presence. I love it. And that's really like one of the energies of the grandmother. Like, yeah, just being present. And that's part of the wisdom, like that sensation that you're being slower, but not really. It's like you're just being wiser with everything, with your time, and more productive in a wiser way. It doesn't have to be running all over.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to share something on that
Wow. Yeah.
if it would be okay. And it's
Yes, of course.
literally something practical. Okay. And this channeled in probably 2018. So you know how many times we haven't finished a project and it's never going to get finished because you don't have the components of the project. I think about craft projects, art projects, but then I think about business projects, community projects.
Yes.
You have a few right now in my head. And the thing is, we leave our energy. This is what I was shown. We leave our energy in those projects. This is relationships too. Okay. So if you think about it, so I can think of one. Back when I lived in Broomfield, we were going to take ourselves into a place where we were creating this big women's event, and it never went to fruition because something got in the way. But what you do is you think about whatever it is, and you literally close the circle. You close the circle on that energy, and you bring all of the energy that was left in there back to you. This can be a conversation you didn't get to have with somebody. Close the circle. Literally, I've done this and made art. It is amazing. I did it with women after Valentine's Day this year, and it was around heartbreak. So they were closing the circles on all the things that they felt were heartbreaking for them. And the results within a week, 3 of the 5 had so much more energy. They had a more positive outlook, and they looked at their heartbreaks in a totally different way. So whatever it is, if you can close the circle on it energetically, right? didn't finish that book. I have a website. Ooh, 2005. I put a lot of money into a website that never got finished. Yeah, bringing the energy back to you from projects, from relationships, even from experiences. Maybe they didn't go the way you would have ideally wanted them to go. Bring your energy back, collect it. This is like a physical shamanic journey. So thanks for letting me share.
Wow. I'm loving that. Wow,
I
there's
had
lots
never
of
thought about
circles
it as
we're
a
gonna
physical
do here.
shamanic journey, but seemingly the grandmothers are like, this is a physical shamanic journey. And I'm like, well, that makes it sound way more multidimensional for people, like way more full in what they're doing. So yeah, I guess it just renamed itself from Close the Circle to physical journeying.
Yeah. So
I
it's
think that's a
almost,
great activity.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
So it's pointed out there the intention or whatever you didn't close or the need that you have or the relationship, but then physically draw a circle or
Yep, we did
around that, right?
kind of like the most
Also,
things
got
in
it.
our indigenousness are circles,
I
right?
love it. Yes, it is
I mean,
true.
we are part of the weave, but when the circle closes, then it's complete. So this is a practice of completion is where I started with it. So literally at the end of the week after I learned this, I would go, am I going to complete that in the physical world? Nope, but I'm going to complete it in the energetic world. So that was where it started with. And in 2023, about last October, I started working on completion. Again, Maddie turned 1 on the physical world. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. She wants me to get out there and get things done. Well, completion. So completing the circle, bringing the energy back to the origin so it's back with you. It super powerful. So yeah.
Wow.
And that is totally about our roots, right?
Yeah, it is totally about something. And I wanted to bring something into the space that actually I just have here and look at it and it's like, oh yeah, we completed this, which is look at the circle is there and we actually completed this. Yeah, this is our project, it's not just mine. So it is our project compiled by Rebecca Saltman and Jade right there. And I wrote one of the chapters. Each of you and many other amazing people, because there is men as well, not
By
only
the way,
women.
chapter 7
Chapter 7,
is
yeah,
Monica's
spaces,
chapter.
yeah, spaces
Yeah.
in between. Roses, right? It was the spaces in between, and actually, it is all inspiring my grandmothers. So
I was going
yeah,
to say, this is about your grandmothers. Yeah.
yes, it is the story. It has a little bit. It's not the whole story, but it has a little bit, and it has both of them. So it says spaces in between roses, tangerines, and miracles, and it's all about that. That's why you see in the background there is tangerines and there's roses in the other side. Well, we can see it too much here,
Oh,
but
because there's 3 of us.
yeah, because there is 3 of us. But yeah, so that's the way I always bring them because that's the
Well, and what's
memory I have
interesting
from
is
them.
the practice, and I douse these practices. So there's tools behind each chapter.
Oh
I didn't
yeah, it
do it
is
from my
true.
mind. I did it with a pendulum. I asked the energy of your chapter, which tool. And behind yours is sharing and receiving deep appreciation and love. Is
Oh, I
that
love
grandmother energy?
it. It
It
Like
is.
is true.
grandmothers.
Perfect.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is true.
It is
And actually,
perfect.
my practice is also how to connect to the ancestors. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
in right in your
yeah,
chapter.
totally.
it's true. Becca, what about yours? You remember anything
Oh,
about your
well, it's
chapter,
my
yours?
no, I remember nothing about any of it, but it's totally a lie. Um, for me, one of my deepest empathic abilities is that I
Hmm.
feel the earth. I feel things about the
Mhm.
earth. And so the roots, for real. I feel earthquakes before they happen, you know. I feel storms before they happen. I feel like both social storms and metaphysical storms. Um and so this is all ancestral wisdom too. None of this is from my life or my learnings in this life. It's not that. It comes from the ancestors, and it's their gifts to me. And so I wrote about it in terms of a fairy tale because, people in our time don't understand this ancient wisdom that I experience. And so I wrote a fairy tale. And Jade and I have talked about this a lot, and Monica, you and I have too. But like when you experience this indigenous wisdom and these indigenous practices that are natural to you, they aren't generally understood necessarily in a regular world. Certainly not in a corporate world.
Certainly not.
And so the idea is that we can, we remember our roots and understand our gifts and talents is through our, is by this remembering and remembering. And if I could bring it back to my dad, if we can remember to laugh.
Yes,
or
I
pull
know.
over
It's
and
so
stop.
simple. Pull over.
Pull over and stop. I mean, come on. How does it get better than that?
I'm writing down pull over and stop.
Yes. Yeah.
And Rebecca,
Yes, ma'am.
I have been signing this book,
Yes.
Remember to Laugh Every Day, for the last years.
Oh,
Look at that. See? Because, we need to laugh more just in general. Certainly I
What's
need
your
to laugh.
dad's first name?
Jack.
Jack.
Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, like, how do we remember again? And being an empath is about remembering for sure. Remembering my roots for sure. And, Monica, this was the thought that you had to have us talk about the book. But this is deep. It is like the deepest form of roots. For me, being an empath is my deepest roots. For sure. And I would have
It's
never
a deep connection, right? Back to the roots, that massive the connection. We know we're connected to everything.
Yeah.
We feel and experience it like viscerally, we'll go with. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And think about like we are all at the end connected to the same seed. It's like our ancestors, all of at some point, they are just connected to one seed, and we're just come from the same melting pot or from the same thing. It's just like so many roots out there, but
It's
Alan Watts explains it. Go ahead, Beck.
Yeah. Oh, no. Go ahead. Do the Alan Watts piece.
Alan Watts explains it. His son's putting his stuff out now with some cool imagery, so it's pretty neat to watch. That we're all from one stream, that we are just all different branches of that single stream.
There you go.
So that when you look at that, it's much like the roots, right? Like if we're all from one tree, then we are a root off of that tree.
And what I was going to say, and it actually goes to this as well, is that one of the fundamental things that we have forgotten that we need to remember is that what I do to you, I do to myself. And this is fundamental to the one seed, to the roots, because you don't see trees trying to chop themselves down, for God's sakes, right? You don't. And so if I actually hurt you, I'm hurting myself.
Right.
And we've forgotten that this is fundamental. This is why we are in such chaos in these times.
And I think it's the opposite as well. Like the way I treat myself is also how the way I'm treating the rest of the world. Or
that's exactly right.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't take care of ourselves. And then we expect that, okay, out there, somebody's going to take care of me or something. No, you have to start with you, and then things will flow. And then
precisely. Right.
Yeah.
So, and Monica, what I also want to say is that I watch you model that. Because of how you're doing Grandma's March, right? You do it in flow.
It is.
For me, I would have been pushing and like, let's try to figure this out. And what time are we starting? And oh my God, we're late. And, there's technical things. And what? But you're like, no, it's happening in flow. It'll start in 15 minutes. It's fine. Like nobody's dying.
It's recorded.
always record.
Really blessed.
Sometimes even live.
Yeah, but in
Even,
live,
even
this is what
live,
happens
my
live.
microphone
Right.
didn't work, and okay, and nothing happened.
Yeah. So, and why I'm bringing this up is this is such grandmother's wisdom.
It is.
This is perfect because you're pulling over and stopping, right?
Oh, I love it.
You are hearing the call and you're following it. You're taking care of yourself first and making sure the damn sound works, you know,
Yeah.
and not getting upset. Okay, it's going to be 15 minutes late. Okay, it's going to be 15 minutes late. Everybody's okay.
Hmm.
And if it doesn't happen today, I know you're having different
It
people
wasn't
that are
meant to be
sick, or
today. There you go.
people are sick, or people can't do it today, or something happens. Okay, it's not meant to be, and
Well,
you
and it's
model that with such delight, and so thank you for that.
well, and the perseverance, like Rebecca's describing. Think about roots of trees. They persevere, don't they? Like
Oh, yeah.
they don't really care what you build near them. They're going to go where they go, and they persevere right underneath that concrete and sometimes crack it, right? Like they persevere in such a way, and the grandmother's wisdom when something goes awry, right? They're like, it'll all be okay. My youngest daughter, Maddie's mom, Sam, her mantra is it's all good, no matter
Oh,
what is happening. And she was the calmest mom of a 1 pound baby you could ever imagine. And I asked her why she was so calm. She said, Mom, you taught me everything happens for a reason, and I may never know what that reason is in this life. And I was like, she embodied that.
wow.
Like what Rebecca's describing is it happened for a reason.
It
We'll
happens for
keep going.
everything.
We don't know.
Yes. Oh, we know why. We know why. So yeah, I want to start like wrapping ourselves here. Really, it's been an amazing. I want to just stay here forever talking to you and just weaving and weaving because we go back and forward. And yeah, we even show our competition, our book again, and it's been amazing. So everybody, you empath you can look it up at Amazon, also my website and everybody's website. And yeah, we are there. All our information is there. And I want to thank you, Becca and Jade, for bringing into the space and sharing all your wisdom, your ancestors, your amazing granddaughter and grandma at the same time. That's laughing, oh Becca, which is amazing, and as bringing and allowing me to bring also to my space my grandmother, my ancestors, the roots, and yeah, understanding that we don't always know why, but we do know why.
The deeper knowing.
Right there, you go. The deeper knowing, and that is why we're doing this. So, oh, thank you. I love you
Thank you.
both.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
Jade's
got
crying,
will.
and I am
We
I
got
too.
was
the
there
healing
to
chairs
hug
working.
you.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And yeah, keep on, stay tuned for more on Grandma's March until March 20th. And have a great afternoon, evening for Becca, and afternoon, rest of the weekend for us. Thank you so much. Bye
Mahalo.
bye.
You both. Lots of love.
Wee-ho.
Bye.
Bye.